will be starting in the next 1 minute, exactly in the next 1 minute. Yes. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to yet another session of Pre-Bell with William O'Neill India. In this session, we'll take you through Nifty 50 chart placement along with its probable opening, some key results, some key global news and events, how US markets fared through the night, how Asian markets are trading at the moment, and at the end, chart of the day for you. Before discussing any chart or any stock for in this webinar, I'll let you know that the content in this presentation or podcast should not be considered as a recommendation to buy or sell a security. All information is intended for educational purpose only and should not be considered as an investment advice. So without taking up much time, let's start with Nifty 50 chart analysis. If we talk about how Nifty behaved through this week, it behaved highly volatile as we had discussed in our previous week's podcast. On Monday and Tuesday, Nifty was going down and had breached all its key moving averages by Tuesday and also the key support level of 17,000 as well. Before we started the week, the market was in uptrend under pressure as the distribution day count had increased to 4 in last week and we had to change the market status to uptrend under pressure. This week, on Monday and Tuesday, markets fell by 1.3% on each day. But on Tuesday, as volumes were higher than that of Monday, we had to add a distribution day, and the current distribution day count stands at 5. If we talk about yesterday's session, yesterday had a very strong opening, and Nifty maintained to hold its opening throughout the entire day and traded in a tight range of 160 points throughout the day. During the day, Nifty reclaimed its 50 DMA and closed marginally below its 200 DMA. Going forward, if more distribution days are added, we might have to downgrade the market further to a downtrend. If the recent highs of 18114 gets reclaimed back, we can change the market to confirmed uptrend. We're talking about some key results as Q4 earnings season is going on. EU small banks Q4 FY22 PAT beats its estimates. NII increased by 42.8% YOY to 936.5 crores. PAT increased by 105% YOY to rupees 346 crores. On the asset quality front, the asset quality for the bank improved. GNP and NNP improved by 62 bps and 80 bps QOQ. Bajaj Finance also reported its Q4 FY22 numbers and the PAT marginally missed its estimates, but the NI did beat the consensus estimates. NI increased 30% to rupees 6068 crores and PAT increased 80% YOY to 2420 crores. Even the asset quality for Bajaj Finance improved as well on a QOQ basis. GNP and NNPA ratio improved 13 BPS and 10 BPS QOQ to 1.6% and 0.68%. Provisions was also lower as well. Provisions stood at rupees 702 crores for the quarter versus 1051 crores for Q3 FY22. If we talk about the results to be announced today, major results to be announced today are Bajaj Auto, HUL, IEX, Indian Hotels, and KTR Mills. Now let's talk about some key news. Reliance and Tazis signed shareholder agreement for $2 billion in investment for Ruwais chemical project. This strategic agreement will focus on upstream collaboration and decarbonization of operations. Wipro signed a definitive agreement to acquire Rising Intermediate Holdings for $540 million, a global SAP consulting firm. The much talked about LIC IPO had some announcement details going forward yesterday. Price band was announced between 902 and 949, a 60 rupees discount for the policy holders and 40 rupees discount for employees and retail. lot size will be 15 shares. Again, as expected, FIs remain key net sellers during yesterday's equity market by rupees 1,174 crores, and DI bought around 1,644 crores in Indian equities. Brent futures was almost stable yesterday as it traded just 0.6% up to settle around $105.23 a barrel. If we talk about US markets opened on a negative bias and continued to trade lower throughout the day. As you can see, that Dow Jones, S&P, and Nasdaq all closed lower. Dow Jones by 2.4%, S&P by 2.8%, and Nasdaq by a huge 3.9%, almost 4%. Tracking cues such as fears of your major tech stocks meeting your failing to meet the consensus street expectations, and even a faster than expected rate hike by US Fed to tackle nearly 40-year high inflation can dampen the growth, can dampen the growth and demand in the US economy, which led to the fear of US equities collapsing yesterday. Talking about the Asian peers, even the Asian peers are trading with a negative bias. Shanghai Composite by 0.3%, Kospi by 1.1%, and Nikkei by 1.8%. Similarly, if we talk about what the XGX is trying to tell us, the XGX is also giving us a negative opening as SGX in morning was trading around 1706, which is much lower than yesterday's close of around 17200. Now let's talk about chart of the day, which is Thirumalai Chemicals. Thirumalai Chemicals is part of the Thirumalai group. Thirumalai Chemicals into the manufacturing of phthalic anhydride, malic acid, and DEP. The company's products find various end users. End user industries for the company include your paints, pigments, dyes, your construction, your automobiles, your agrochemicals, your pharmaceuticals, food processing, etc. The company is into a duopoly with IG Petrochemicals in India. The company commands nearly 40% market share in the Indian domestic market. If we talk about pan demand in India, the pan demand is currently around 5 lakh tons in India for 2022, which is expected to go around 1 million tons by 2030 on account of strong growth in end user industries and even new end user industries getting added into the gamut, such as your specialty chemicals. If we talk about the ratings and your technical setups, the stock is forming a stage 2 cup base. And if you talk, and the accumulation on the right hand side of the cup has been very strong. As you can see, volumes on the up day is very high than that of the volumes on the down day. The stock is still trading 12% from its pivot. The number of funds in the holding in the stock has increased by 23% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Even the stock has been reporting good set of numbers. As you can see, the EPS and sales growth for the last few quarters has been in very high double digits or triple digits as well. The RS rating is very strong at 80, and even the RS line is trending higher as well. So as discussed earlier, that any stock that will be discussed today should not be taken as an investment advice and just for educational purpose. So let's see how the stock behaves around its pivot and if the markets remain supportive as well. Thank you, and do stay tuned to this space of Pre-Bell with William O'Neill India at 8:45 a.m. sharp for your daily dose